everybody. Welcome back to the cybernetic future where everything is great. That's not true. Everything is not great. But for now...
cybernetic future where everything is cool.
Everything is cool, yes. I guess that's the thing, right? It's that may you live in interesting times. The cyberpunk future is interesting.
Yeah. May you live in interesting times indeed.
Yeah. So, where does everybody meet up? Are we revealing this information like at a group meeting, or is this like you find out and then bring everybody, or what's the jam?
I imagine we link up in person, so to speak, and share gathered information. I mean, those two were off on a quest for Neat's camera, but you know, we actually acquired information that helps with the mission.
Whoa, harsh jokes.
Hey, last time QQ got a helicopter, so
here's the thing.
Help with the mission.
Here's the thing. Just quick Neat for your business. Unless you modify it, you get a like current shelf model, serial number scraped off, RFID wiped Tinkerbell, right? And a Tinkerbell is a rotor drone, which in AR appears as a ball of light. You would have to modify it or hack it if you wanted its AR thing to be different, or if you wanted to like add any physical things. But what its deal is you imprint on it, and then it just follows you around recording everything you do.
No, I don't need to change the AR of it at all. I just take like a knife to it and scratch Navi in the side instead. Because there you go, repurposed, like on brand.
Totally. Yeah. Occasionally it's just like, hey, hit it. Okay.
Hey, listen.
So where are you when you have your conversation?
Well, I have my fantastic little like bar operating room.
Can I suggest an option?
Of course you can.
I had a thought. All right.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
We see the slightly like bubble warped surface of a blue and white like laminate tabletop, and we fade in on some vinyl, like 2 bench seats on either side, vinyl bench seats in that kind of like dark like burgundy color.
Cyber Denny's.
The surface of the table has these obvious like rings where people have set hot beverages in plastic vessels and they've damaged the laminate. And I think that what we see first is we see a hand, a white shirt sleeved hand place a plate on the table, and upon it there is a pile of fluffy, perfect 3D printed pancakes surrounded by, I don't know, like some artificial genetically modified strawberries.
Also, it's
embalmed in a thick yellow like corn syrup that's been dyed neon red. And then the man like serving you puts the pancakes on the table. Whose pancakes are these? All right. Okay. Perfect. And he sets them down kind of grumpily and walks away.
Thank you.
And the place we pull back and we see the 4 of you at this booth. There are a few other people. It's pitch dark outside, and we get this like nice slow pan out. We can see an AR, one of these little like AR jukebox things over in the corner, and it's kind of like desperately trying to play some K-pop song, but 3 of the 4 speakers are dead, so it's just the high-end register, like this tinny.
I definitely requested the music, and I'm like, this is so retro, guys. Like,
Yeah, it turns out we're actually just like we're sat in such a way that we're like recreating one of the like scenes where they're out of school from like Saved by the Bell or something. Like I've got my feet up on the table, crossed over, and like someone's like leaning over the back of one of the things. It's just awful. Amazing.
It's got a very like Breakfast Club vibe to it. So it pulls back, and then we see the restaurant, and then we cut to the 4 of you sitting at the table.
And there's just the like rhythmic tap 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 of QQ's fingernails on the table, because she's like not really into this. And there's like this very particular like piercing sound.
This place doesn't jive. It doesn't jive.
Does Neat already have the Tinkerbell? Is it that far ahead, or is that still coming?
I think so.
I think like I've seen Tinkerbell so often that I don't notice it, and then like every once in a while it'll like I'll remember again that like, oh right, that's not mine, and like have a little like, oh, and then like it goes back to being like just background noise.
Like neat catches you like mugging at it sometimes.
Yeah, like I totally like instinctively like do the whole like just random shit. Like and then I'm like, oh,
what's great though? What's great though is that the software built into it probably would like block you out, like you'd be blurred out, so that if you appeared in someone else's like broadcast, because I think if you got kicked off the team or whatever, people would have tried.
They wouldn't let you ride coattails.
Yeah, you couldn't just be like, I'm gonna go hang out with so and so because we're still friends. It's like, no, you're done. Your contract.
Yeah, but I keep forgetting and like instinctively like, and then like, oh right.
Yeah, you look up at it, and instead of kind of seeing it front on, you catch like the tiniest bit of glare of like the lens because it's facing me instead of you, and it's like super obvious.
And like I keep that keeps happening, and like eventually like just push the pancakes away from me, and I'm just like, God.
No, I eat them.
You just slide them over. Do you eat them with chopsticks?
I don't know. Yeah, sure. I just like fold them up.
Yeah, I imagine Neat as being the kind of guy who carries around his own chopsticks and will not eat with anything else. And if you call him on it, he's like, obviously chopsticks are the ultimate in dining technology, and like we'll go on like a rant about why you should eat everything with chopsticks.
I like personalized chopsticks as well.
Oh, of course.
You've got like neon bands of color like around where your fingers
totally. Yeah, you had them specially made for you. They come in their own like case. You like slide them out. Yeah.
In case you need to eat in the dark, they've got little LEDs on the end that you can turn on by like clicking the back of them.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
So while we're all arrayed here, being the business like, you know,
what are the real Shadowrunners doing?
I don't know. If you run into any, let me know.
Yeah. I just say I have the meeting location. I know where it is, and we've acquired a way to get there. I say, looking over at QQ, like,
yeah. Are you going to display the information that you have, like on the, you know, like on a thing in the table, like show everybody what you have, or?
Yeah, the table is a display.
Yeah, you can just tell it to display.
Yeah, it's one of those personal things where it's like you press a couple of things on the side of it and like hook it up to whatever device you're using, and
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. There's definitely NFC in the table display for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you see what looks like a big Krug like tanker ship. They have thousands of them. It's like a giant ass tanker. And it is very definitely not in use any longer. In fact, it looks like it's been like built onto and like it wouldn't serve as a ship anymore. It's heavily anchored into the bay. We see this in like a little like rotating hollow display of the thing. There are a bunch of little like data points that pop up in Cyrillic and then are retranslated by your software. And yeah, the place in question, the meeting, is being held on a non-functional, like semi-abandoned, I guess officially abandoned, Krug tanker called the Chernobog. And it's it's just this like basically the deal with it, and this is common knowledge for everyone in the Megaplex, is that it was carrying a bunch of like essentially what the Megaplex deemed to be contraband, right? They were like, no, toxic waste or nuclear weapons or some shit. And Krug was like, what is problem? And they're like, no, you got to turn around and take it home. And then they didn't. They were like, well, we can't, like, no return to sender. It's officially like abandoned, because they were like, fine, we'll just take all our personnel, we'll take the cargo, fuck it, and just left it there. And it's just like rotting, this rotting husk that's just sitting out in the harbor. And it's been out there for like a decade, and no one can agree on whose responsibility it is, because the company that originally like was shipping through it no longer exists. So it's just kind of like,
so it's in legalistic limbo.
Exactly. Yeah. There was this whole human rights thing where for like 6 months, the crew was not allowed to leave because they didn't have visas for the megaplex, but they couldn't go home either. So they just lived on the ship for 6 months. They applied for extraterritoriality to become like their own island, but then there was some messiness. There was an accident. And
but I'm totally getting vibes of like, God, I don't know if I actually do anything other than reference video games at this point, but like let's go all in. It's like the real guys have been Snake onto the tanker, already found Metal Gear Below Decks, and now we're like riding, and we're gonna like show up afterwards, and everyone's gonna be super disappointed.
I am getting the impression though that this is some kind of Krug black site. Like they basically still operate it as this other thing. Because it does not officially exist.
Yeah, they've written it off. They're like, nope, it's trash. And the Megaplex is like, get it out of here. And they're like, hey, it's not our jurisdiction. It's your trash now, right? Like, I threw this candy wrapper in your yard. It's your yard. Why don't you clean it up? Well, what's funny is that the thing that gave me the idea for this is real. Like, this happened in Vancouver. There was a ship where the company that they shipped the ship out of China. Then the company went out of business. And the harbor was like, we can't take this. Go home. And they're like, we have no home and fuel. And they just sat in the harbor for like weeks because they had no home to go back to. They couldn't leave. And they couldn't come to Vancouver because the law. So yeah, this ship is just like out there. And occasionally it gets, there are stories about people like trying to occupy it, or, you know, they're like, oh, movement has been made to like take it apart and get it out of here because it's an eyesore and it's dangerous. But it's kind of become this haunted house that just like floats out there, and people mostly leave it alone.
Then there's like the bodies of people who tried to take over it, like with bullet holes from like proper fully military grade weapons that like wash up nearby. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's a as you said, there is that kind of rumor that it's a
single
black
human
site.
Foot washes ashore. Speaking of things that have happened in Vancouver.
Yeah, totally.
Oh God.
Okay, so yeah, that's the deal. That's where it's supposedly this meeting is taking place.
So I look over at QQ and that sentence like, and a way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, like that helicopter.
And there's just like this little helicopter appears in the display and is like flying in, being all like, it's like doing cool like loops and stuff.
Just
And
it slowly like does a strafing run on the pile of pancakes.
Yeah.
And I while you're like editing the helicopter in, I'm like making it change colors and like looking at you like, what about this? Like, oh my God, we could add like this over here. Like, I'm just like,
A moment.
That'd be cool.
Let's finish the plan first. Now, I've organized with at least some of the Krug security team to be absent at the time, hopefully. But I'll have to deal with payment for them later, hoping that it comes out of the substantial amount of money we should be paid for dealing with this.
Hopefully not like all the security though. Wait, is there like some like really big burly dude who's got like 2 massive iron arms?
I don't know the full details of the security loadout, but
Neat. I killed one of those like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you didn't film it.
yeah, I seem
Wait,
to remember
what?
one of those causing a little bit of a problem.
How do you think she
For
got her
me.
new arm?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So everybody mark experience because you've discovered the location of the meeting.
Right.
Oh,
All right, and we pass the evening detailing our plan in this
Yes.
Denny's booth.
While it's being recorded and put onto the internet.
Well, I don't think you're not
Well,
broadcasting it. You're just recording everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're broadcasting it live, you wouldn't be able to like make a sweet anime music video out of it or whatever.
I
You have
mean,
to-
Yeah.
Or to
AMV.
edit out all the dull bits.
I mean, I realized this like last session, but the scariest thing about Flamingo's cybernetics is that she has an encrypted part of her brain that is involved in communication that is owned by Freyr. Like all of that information might be going somewhere, and that's like you know, like,
Yeah, there's some external
Oh,
memory
the partition.
somewhere.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, some Johnny Mnemonic shit right there.
yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, could be a thing. It might not be, but could be. But yeah, so we detailed the rest of the plan. I don't know if we want to actually detail the rest of the plan or if we're planning to move into the action
That's
phase.
the question, isn't
I
it?
think we're
I think we're ready to action our plan.
yeah, I think we're ready for action phase.
Okay. So you don't feel like you need any more information?
I feel like we should make the effort to recon at least once.
I have an intel and a gear. We can definitely like send a helicopter or drone out there to take a look, but like
yeah, I'd appreciate at least one recon so we can try and find out.
Yeah, now you have
like.
the opportunity. I've told you what you know casually, but like someone could try to research the Chernobog,
right, yeah.
ask some questions. You could assess the situation, right? You could look at the plan and do some tactical shit. Like now that you have enough information to potentially expand some of that, rather than just be like, cool, we know where it is, let's go.
Okay.
That sounds like some neat and cathode shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd appreciate. Yeah, like if you research it, then I'll tie it all up together and make an entry plan.
I can totally go onto the internets and see what kind of myths are available on the internets about this place. What ones might be real and what ones might not be.
Yeah, you can probably send B out as well to actually get eyes on.
Yeah, what does B got for eyes? Let me check what B's got for eyes.
It's cannabis for eyes and sensors.
B is stealthy and yeah, just analysis software. So yeah, I can definitely like send B on a covert like run like high up to just kind of like scan and just get like visual information about like what might be like actually able to see.
What's the range? What's the range in your little like
doesn't
drone?
say.
So here's the thing. It doesn't have like a long range tag, so I assume what this looks like is QQ flying Kathy out there on the helicopter, and we just like pitch B out the back of the helicopter while we circle, and it goes.
There's no range tags on any of the drones.
And then,
yeah, you just send the drone.
But there is a long range like vehicle tag, right, or something like. Because the absence of a tag is similar to the presence.
I don't think that there's any range on.
It doesn't
vehicles.
List range.
Yeah, only
a remote control module that allows her to control the stuff directly remotely, but there's also nothing saying that the drones can't be autonomously pursuing objectives, right?
I mean, no, autonomous is a tag. So I have to control it, which means like when I go unconscious, it just doesn't do anything. But like there is no like
I think it makes sense for there
no
to be
tag at all that says what distance
it
can be used at.
I think that it makes sense for there to be some kind of range on it. Like I don't know that it's radio controlled. Like you can obviously control it via the intertubes, but yeah, I don't know. I guess because it's secure. That would be the difference, right? The reason there'd be a range would be because it's direct one-to-one, like you are controlling it. But if you control it through an external server via the internet, you could be anywhere and control it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One is more secure than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I use my neural interface, so maybe that has some kind
you know
of
what? Maybe
it.
it's both. Let's talk about that. Maybe if you directly control it with your brain, like if you turn on peer-to-peer, then it's encrypted, but you can also control it in a less safe way from a higher distance.
I mean, I'd be totally willing to take out the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because helicopter's cool. And let's go on the helicopter.
I assume you took the helicopter to this Denny's.
Right. And so, yeah. So like, yeah, it could definitely be QQ and I like making fun, faffing about with the helicopter, and then like getting close enough that I can send B out stealthily, but far enough so that the helicopter isn't calling attention.
This is the part where at the end of the scene, you leave the Denny's and walk out onto what, as we pan back, is revealed to be like a huge like blimp, like an airship, and the Denny's is on the bottom of it. It's got a big Denny's sign on the side of it. And it's like floating over the city. I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of into hover Denny's.
Hover Denny's. Okay,
well, it's like it's part of this like mall that's in this airship.
Sky Mall. Yeah. Sky Mall.
Yeah, it's like a tourist attraction.
Okay, that's canon now. Yeah, totally. It
like circles the like huge arcology spire.
Yeah.
You know, and like goes around and they'll like dock at them and pick people up and then like go for a little like 3-hour around.
Totally.
All right. So yeah, we were at the Hover Denny's and now we're gonna get into our helicopter and go reconnoiter.
Yeah. Okay. So the two of you are gonna make a pass over the Chernobog site and try to do an assess.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think this is going to require that both of you act, unless you're just going to like fly by and not give a shit about it. I need a roll from QQ to fly casual.
Oh yeah, so I'm acting under pressure, or
Yeah. The pressure being potential surveillance of the site.
okay, yeah. Soon I will have a move that makes me way better at this, but for now,
Yeah.
not so much. I get a 9.
Okay.
So if Kathy can help me somehow,
I mean,
Or Neat or Flamingo also.
yeah,
Because
I guess
Kathy's doing her own thing.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
occupied.
I could be like hot seat co-pilot, but that's kind of it, you know. Like I don't really think that this is my sort of mission for helping. This is like you guys go and do stuff. I've done the talking and the acquiring of valuable information. Like that is what I do. But if you need the help, I mean, if you were like, boss, come help me out with this new thing, like then maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what help with this would look like, though. That's the thing.
Well, you're flying the plane, which ostensibly has like sensor equipment that someone else could be looking at.
Yeah, and so they can be operating some of the other stuff inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like a comms station in the cockpit. It has like room for 3 people. And there, because it's a helicopter that is designed to be the like command crew for a commando team.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the shooting people who live in the back of the helicopter, and then there's like their commanders and a pilot or 2 up in the front.
Okay.
So
yeah,
there's like a little comm station.
All right. So who's manning the sensors then?
Is it you or me, Nate?
I think you're doing that. All
right.
I'm going to stay back and like help with the assessing if that needs doing.
Deal.
That's what I'm better at.
So yeah, I'm dealing with comms, / sensors on this.
Okay.
On this new bird.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead and roll to help.
All right. Let me see. I need to get that move where I can help with style.
Hmm.
Boom.
Oh, wow. Boom.
Fucking
You
wreck.
did help
He's
with
real
style, eh?
Turns out I'm very familiar with this particular technology.
So because it's cyberpunk, everything happens at night. So we get a flyover of the huge, like mostly iced over harbor, and out of the edges and kind of moving through the lane, there are these autonomous icebreaker ships that are kind of carving up the chunks of ice. And there's a ton of shipping traffic coming in and out. Obviously the air lanes here are like heavily restricted. You have to be very careful because you know, there's a lot of traffic moving in and out of the harbor. But it's also like an AR heavy area because anyone coming in is getting ads for like hotels and you know, services in the city and like welcome to the megaplex. Like here's a million fucking things you can spend your credits on. Welcome home, that kind of thing. So navigating all of that, there's a massive influx of information. So you're constantly having to like shut down pop-ups essentially and use your sensor software to just cut into the information that you want. Every corporation has some kind of presence here, like personal security vehicles, that kind of thing. But because there's so much traffic, you're able to use some of that to your advantage.
Yeah, like hide under it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're just one blip in a series of a cloud.
A series of massive blips. Yeah,
exactly. I think that we see you fly through an AR display of like a giant lizard fighting a giant robot that's advertising some new Show Nintendo Onisoft game. And they're literally like, there's a bunch of little miniature AR drones flying in a cloud formation inside. And so there's this, 10-story robot lizard fight. And we see that kind of flicker as you fly through it. And we see these little drones kind of scatter a little bit to make room for you. And yeah, and as we come down towards the Chernobog, we can see that, yeah, like the water around it has this kind of oily sheen. The thing is a rusted hulk. It's this huge ship sitting low, still packed up on one side with cargo containers. And then like heavily latched on, and people have attached like AR, like semi-functioning AR projectors on it, so as you come close, I think that you get hit with a bunch of kind of AR displays that say take the Hulk out of the harbor, and there's essentially like a Greenpeace kind of jam, like an environmental activist campaign, and this is several years old, like nobody really cares about it anymore, but they're like, it's leaking chemicals into the harbor, like save the harbor squid or whatever. And
disregard.
Yeah, and so these things are like coming up, and they're all old, and there's graffiti all over the whole surface of the thing. It's been home to several kind of individual, either like artist claves or homeless like squatters, or things that are both at the same time, and you're not really sure which is which. And it's currently unoccupied. But you can, I think we cut to the ship and we see Cathode be in hand.
Yeah. So like, however you open like the side, I'm just like, I have like B, and I'm just like checking and making sure that.
Yeah, there's the massive ramp in the back, and it just opens like a little bit to allow people to come up, but there's this like incredible noise of wind and like
you have the big like
freezing air.
Yeah, like my hair like pushes forward like when the thing opens, and I grab on to B like really quick before it just like goes flying out.
There's a conspicuous but currently empty heavy machine gun mount in the floor.
And I'm like, all right, like, you'll be fine. Like, I'm talking to my own tech. Like, you'll be fine. Like, go ahead and, like, bring it to the door and, like, nicely, like, put it out there. And it goes, like,
yeah, in response,
really quickly.
In response to the tone of your voice, it makes a cute little, like, R2-D2 noise.
Of course it does. Of course I did that to it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm using B to assess. That would be edge, yeah?
You're the Lord of the Edge.
Yeah, are you good at this?
I mean, I don't think anyone else can assess this. It's my drone.
Yes, it's you doing the assess. Yeah.
So
that's totally fine.
I mean, I wish someone else could, but I got a 9, so we're okay.
All right,
I'll help you.
All right, how are you helping me?
I'm also there. Like we've plugged it in because like she's getting the footage. I need to like mark it up. I need to like
So she's piloting the drone and you're analyzing the footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that totally makes sense. Cool. All right. So Cathode obviously like eyes closed, and we can see her pupils like moving, and she's seeing through B's eyes. And then you have the like VR goggles on and the little like hand thing, and you're.
I feel like there's usually like some kind of like there's always like a stress or anxiety mark on my forehead. Like the second that I close my eyes and like go into the like relay, it's gone. Mm-hmm. Like I'm just like, all right, this is a good thing. I am good at this. This is where I'm comfortable. So that like is. Go ahead. Questions. We have questions to ask. Did roll the thing.
Yep. There you go. Let's have them help. So you're on 10.
Okay. So we get 3 hold. We can ask any of these questions. Take +1 forward when acting on the answers. We want to know. What do we want to know? We want to know. I mean, everyone, feel free to contribute questions that you think with what potential complication do I need to be wary of? What do I notice despite an effort to conceal it? How is blank vulnerable to me? How can I avoid trouble or hide here? What is my best way in, way out, or way past? Where can I gain the most advantage? Who or what is my biggest threat? Who or what is in control here?
And we're like assessing the location, so
yes.
Like the meeting isn't here yet. I think if there's a question, I should be looking at the list of questions. Hang on.
Yeah, let's pull that up.
Yeah, I think we start at the beginning. What's the best way in? Like, what is it? Actually, do we want to phrase that? We know how we're getting in. Actually,
I personally think.
So I mean, you know how you plan on getting in. You don't know if it's the best way.
I personally think how can I gain the most advantage is.
Yeah, I like that question too.
Where can I gain the most advantage?
Yeah, where can we gain the most advantage? in this location, the boat.
Help me understand that.
So in terms of like seeing and not being seen, being able to like have a place where we can operate from, where we're not just going to be like immediately noticeable and then like get an ambush or something like that. Like, where's a place on the boat that we could have advantage over the people that are already planning on meeting here? Right?
Yeah, and to flesh it out a little bit more, I think with myself and QQ, our angle on this is like not super covert, right? It's going to be, we're probably going to have a big firefight on the deck somewhere.
Well, we don't want them to like destroy the helicopter or like.
No, but we can't do things stealthily.
come
We're
on
like
us
just not built to do that.
unawares. Yeah, but like. We want to be able to get in and out with no problems. And so we want to know enough about this place to be able to be like, yeah, this is where we're going to go from, as opposed to just landing in the middle of the deck and having them shoot the rotor of the helicopter and then we never get out of there. Like, we want to have the upper hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, advantage.
Yeah, I mean, where can I kind of don't, some of these questions I don't like. They're not as clear as what I'm used to from Apocalypse World.
Mhm.
Like some of these are like, I don't know. Like, this is a weird question to ask. Yeah, I don't know that there's like, an advantage is so unclear.
Well,
It looks like a big dead ship with nobody on it. Making a big noise is the opposite of advantageous.
And the helicopter is markedly loud.
It is.
It
Yes.
has the weakness loud.
Yeah. So like flying straight towards it, they'll know you're coming.
Mhm.
If your plan is to make a bunch of noise, that's an advantage, I suppose. Like, I guess it depends on your intent, because you kind of have given me two, right? You're like, how do we approach with the least amount of like chaos and noise? But then need is like, we got to go blow shit up. So
I guess so.
it's
I
all
mean,
about
I
that
think-
approach and whether
I
you do it
really think
stealthily
that's
or not.
gonna be like loud and hard, personally.
But you
'cause we
can't
just
blow
need
up
to
an
blo-
entire ship
Yeah,
unless
but
you
we
do blow
just
up an
need to
entire
blow up
ship.
we just need to blow up a room full of people.
But
right?
they could be anywhere on a big
I
old
mean,
tanker.
and that's the thing we want to assess, if we can somehow figure out like where are they going to be.
I mean,
but
I guess if you
no
could get your
question-
hands on some military grade like explosives, like missiles and shit, yeah, you could just blow up the whole ship. You could steal a submarine and you could torpedo the thing.
So, Adam.
Yeah.
Just FYI, this helicopter is equipped with both machine guns and an autocannon. And the autocannon is
like 6
4
holes.
harm, near far, area messy breach, which means it's 4 harm
Yes.
AP and explodes things.
Yeah. So the
fires
autocannon, the guns are for taking out like personnel and small vehicles like bikes and jeeps and shit. The autocannon is for taking out like armored vehicles. But a ship of this size would require like ship-to-ship weapons. You would need like
Yes.
a battleship with cannons.
We could blow up parts of it though.
Yes,
like
you
if it
could
had
you
a
could
crew
strafe the
compartment up
deck
above
and
deck,
like you could cause some trouble. But yeah, it's mostly you have like air-to-air kind of shit, like fighting other helicopters and fighting ground vehicles. This thing is a big deal boat.
we could blow a hole in the side of it. We can't sink it.
Yeah, if you wanted to sink it though, yeah, you would need some heavier armaments.
Nuke it from orbit.
Yes. Yeah, a nuclear bomb would definitely do it.
So I guess before we ask the assess question, we should really come up with that in terms of, yeah, like this approach. Is it going to be, QQ, are you going to stay in the helicopter and am I going to go down? I need to kill some people with the sword. That's an important part of the plan.
I mean, if you try to go in and mix things up on your own, you're definitely going to get wrecked. So QQ is
Yeah.
the muscle. Like her whole job is to go in there and smash things.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess we'll do that. We'll have one of these two piloting the helicopter as our escape.
Kathy can remote control the fucking helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think she wants to be on the boat at all.
Or she can stay in the chopper. That's fine too. But she is able to like leave it and still remote control it because it linked.
But
Do we
not
wanna
but
ask about-
doesn't have the move for it, right? She's not a
She doesn't have any fancy moves for flying it. No,
Yes,
so
yeah. So that's she's at my mercy.
But
Yes.
I'm still capable of driving the thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want to ask the top 2 questions? The what do you notice despite an effort to conceal it, and what potential complications do we need to be wary of? Because it seems like you guys are just gonna jump down and blow shit up. Like,
those are both good questions to ask.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Well, let's
Yeah,
do
because the
that.
problem with our last mission was basically that we went in there without knowing what any of its defenses would be. So if we can use these to try and at least be aware of them, even if we don't take overt steps to get gear to counter certain things, it like puts us a little bit more in control of the mission. And I think
Alright.
that's what the intention of the SS is before we do it.
So
So,
what do
effort to conceal it.
I notice despite an effort to conceal it?
Let me look up. I need a name for these things. Oh, cool. The Russian word for crab is crab.
With a K though.
Yeah, well, it is. It's with a weird Russian K. Is crab. Okay. So, despite an effort to conceal it, yeah, I mean, there's like you don't see humans like walking around on the dock of the ship, but in like IR, if you switch and view it with a different sensor, what are B's sensor capabilities? Let me just find a way to tell you this.
B doesn't have thermographic. It's just analysis software is what its tag is.
Okay, so you're getting an overlay, a wireframe as B like scans the shape of the ship. And like, yeah, there are these big cargo containers. There's stuff that make out part of the silhouette of the ship, but there has been an attempt to conceal as like junk a handful of these Krug heavy security, like multi-purpose labor drones. They're called crabs because that's kind of the general shape of them. They're sort of ovoids with legs. They're like walker, and then they have repurposable arms. We saw one earlier covered by a tarp. But these ones have guns for arms. And they just look like they've tried to like make them look like trash. So they're just kind of like laying semi-dormant like on the deck.
Yeah, they're like derelict and like slumped over.
Yeah, and neat. You see them on the display as being like called out, kind of like it's the silhouette thing, like the silhouette recognition. So they scan it and you see the you see the shapes of these drones. There's at least a half dozen of them on the deck. And I think they're about the size of like a Volkswagen Bug, just to give you an idea of their size, like their body is. And they tend to be outfitted with a various degree of armor and weapons depending on their purpose. But Krug uses these things everywhere because they can climb around on the outside of the big oil rigs. And they also do like submersible work. So yeah, that's a thing.
I mean, that kind of seems like the answer to the first question as well, in terms of what complications we need to be wary of. So do we want to ask a different one, or do we still want to ask that question?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is a hidden thing. The other one is a complication. And I would answer that question with a different thing if you wanted to ask it.
Okay.
Yeah, there would be other further complications.
All right, then what potential complications do we need to be wary of for our third hold?
How would you be made aware of this? The ship has an underside port, and there is currently a like submersible vehicle attached to it, and it looks like transportation to and from the ship happens by submarine. So the ship looks like a big pile of shit on top, but underneath there's like a small, like, 10 to 12 person like vessel that is currently like docked up underneath.
Awesome.
And it seems like people come and go via that.
Yeah, maybe I just like catch like bubbles or I don't know, something.
I mean, it's the analysis software. You would see you'd see like an aberration in the shape, because remember, your drone is ultimately built for like facial recognition and stuff and picking out one shape from another. So that it always knows what it's looking at in terms of whether it's you or another person, and managing that stuff. You've just turned it up to 11 so that it can do that with like buildings and vehicles and stuff. And so it's like, yeah, this is one of these ships, except for these things. These don't fit. What are these things? This is a problem. And it highlights all those in red. And so neat. You see those in the little like AR display that you're moving around, looking at.
Cool. So those are our holds. That's our stuff. If anyone else wants to do anything while we're in the air, otherwise.
That was 2 questions, right?
That was 3. We asked
That was
the
3. We asked the first one too.
first one. Yeah. How can I gain
What was the
advantage?
first one again?
The
How
advantage
can I
one.
gain the advantage?
And that would just turn into a discussion about what the advantage actually was, but it was asked.
Ew.
Cool. All right.
Hey, what's the weather forecast for the day of this meeting?
Do some research.
It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be gray. It's gonna
You gonna
last you
rain?
the rest of your life. It's always like snowy and dark, and like sometimes it's sleet, and sometimes it's snow, and sometimes it's a blizzard. But it's never, even in summer, it's never just like it's nice out.
Okay. Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, being on a boat and it like precipitating is always going to make stuff like landing on it less loud from
I
below
mean,
deck.
nothing
No.
is going to make this helicopter less loud.
No, this helicopter is literally just a loud beast of a machine.
Yeah. It's
So, yeah.
incredibly fast for a helicopter.
What's
It is
what's
loud.
its name again? Like the rads?
Radgritter.
Yeah, the
And did
rat
you?
critter.
Yeah, you made your or have you made your move yet to be stealth on this one? I can't remember.
We already made it. That was me.
We already did it.
getting
Yeah.
Yeah.
help from
Oh
the-
yeah, you got help. That was I was wondering because I was like, it looks like a 9, but I don't remember making you choose anything. So yeah, you got help.
Yeah, so I guess we like do all this surveying and we get all this information, and then like B comes like whizzing back in through the thing, and I'm just like, oh, thank God you're fine. Like, and I'm like, okay, like we did the stuff. When is the meeting supposed to take place?
Whenever you start the action phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
I
is
think
that
it's time.
okay? So we go back to our places and
We
sleep
prep for
and prep?
action.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And then the next day.
Well, let's take our last break here then, and we'll
Okay.
we'll start the action phase when we get back.
Mhm.
All right. Cool. Stick around. We will return with action phase in just a bit. More the sprawl when we return.